Hello and welcome. My name is Thomas, and in this video I wanted to share with you my top 10 favorite tools. Okay, so as we are entering into a new year, one of the things that I decided to do was kind of to do a little bit of an audit. So what I did is I went through some of the tools and resources, particularly software or web apps or services that I use to help run my online business, and determine which ones I was actually using, which ones were really helpful, and which ones were not so much. Now, throughout that process, one of the things that I decided to do as I was kind of going through some of these apps and determining which ones I could cut or which ones I wanted to keep, I started to compile a list of the ones that are my absolute favorite. These I've been using, some of them for a short period of time, others I've been using for several years. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to put together just a quick video where I went through my top 10 favorite tools, software, and apps that I use to run my online business. Okay, but before I dive into the list itself, a few things I want to let you know. First of all, I have done videos on some of these, so if I have, I'll put a link below. One of the things I'll also do is I'll put a list with a link to each of these particular services as well below this video if you'd like to check any of them out. Also, I'd like to let you know that for some of them, not all, but for some of them, I am an affiliate, which means that I would receive a small commission if you decide to sign up for that particular service. Like I said, not all of them. The only things that are on this list are tools and softwares and software and apps that I use to run my online business and have been tried and tested throughout a significant amount of time to do so. Okay, so the first one on my list, and by the way, these aren't in any particular order, they're just kind of in the order they happen to have appeared as I was going through them. But the first one on my list is a service called ConvertKit. So ConvertKit is essentially email marketing software that you could use in order to build your email list, obviously, but they've got a ton of features built in, from automation tools to tagging. I used to use something like MailChimp, which kind of put all of your subscribers into this giant bucket. You could create like segments. However, once you started creating multiple forms, it started getting crazy because if people subscribed to multiple forms, then you ended up with duplicate subscribers, which you had to pay more for. ConvertKit solves all of that, both with their automations that are built in that are drag and drop, easy to create, as well as their drip sequences, as well as the tagging, so you can tag clients as your more loyal customers. You can tag them with which particular downloads that they subscribe to or which particular updates they want to receive. It's really powerful and it's really easy to use, and for that reason I've been using ConvertKit for all of my email marketing and what I recommend to my clients for several years. And the next one on the list is a service called Typeform. Typeform is extremely powerful because it enables you not only to create forms, but it enables you to create forms for different particular purposes. So this is a great way to do a number of surveys of your audience. You can, even with their pro version, you can create fully entailed checkout systems so that people can answer a series of questions and then at the end pay you to book a coaching call or something like that. I've done a video in the past that shows you how to use Typeform step by step in order to create an email list building assessment so that you can help a person gauge where they're at on, if they're newbies, if they're beginners, or if they're advanced in the particular fields that you work in. The uses of Typeform are virtually limitless. And one of the things that I like the most about Typeform is the way that it is designed visually. It's very easy for somebody, whether they're on a laptop, a desktop, or even on a smartphone, to fill out that form, and it makes that whole process really easy and streamlined. Best of all, for you as the user, it has a ton of analytics tools built in so that you can view it through a number of different pie charts or graphs or however you want to view your data, so that you can always make sure that you're getting the most out of the information that you're collecting through your Typeform. And another tool that you've probably heard me talk quite a bit about in the past, if you've been subscribed to the channel for a while, is Basecamp. So I have tried a ton of tools and software in this category for project or task management. So I've tried Asana, I still use Things by Cultured Code on a Mac for kind of smaller things, but I've tried Todoist, I've lost track of all the different types of to-do and project and task management software. And for over a year now, I've been using Basecamp. Basecamp is simple, it's intuitive, it's easy to use. It has a lot of the features that I used to use from something like Slack, so it does a great job of helping me communicate with my team. It also has some of the best client-side integration that I've ever seen, which means that you can send an invite for a project you're working on to a client, and it's super easy for them to use. They can upload files, they can communicate to you via message board, and a number of other different things that are built in and integrated, and it's all really easy to use, which is super important. One of the challenges I've had with working with clients in the past is that emails sometimes would get stuck in spam, or they didn't receive them for whatever reason, but I never have that problem or that challenge anymore with Basecamp. They always know exactly where to go if they ever want to find out the latest process or the latest status update of a project that I'm helping someone work on. So it's helped twofold. A, it's helped me better communicate with my team, and it has also helped me better communicate with my clients as well. Okay, next up on the list is a service called Backblaze B2, and this is the storage platform, the cloud storage platform that you can use if you want to be able to store some of your files and some of or images or photos or things that you don't want clogging up your hard drive. You can store offsite with something like Backblaze. As I've touched on in previous videos, they are by far the most affordable cloud-based storage out there, and plus with a ton of tools that you can use to integrate with your Backblaze B2 account, you can always ensure that those files are easy to access wherever you are as long as you have internet access. Kind of a backup or a secondary piece to this puzzle, speaking of backup, is their normal personal backup client that they have, which is kind of a secondary part to this particular tool, but they have some of the best automated backups that you can have out there on the web. They've got a nice little client that you can install either on a PC or a Mac, and it'll just automatically back up your computer throughout the day, so you never have to worry about keeping on-site backups if you don't want to. Plus, they're really affordable. I think it just starts at like $5 a month to have your entire computer backed up. And from what I can tell, there isn't any limit to that. So as somebody who is storing a ton of video, can't really get much better in terms of the value that you're getting for that particular service, particularly if you have terabytes and terabytes of data that you are trying to back up. Next up on the list is an app, or web app I should say, called Groove. Groove for several years now has become my email replacement, particularly when working with customers or prospects. We use this more heavily on the notable theme side of things because we do a lot of tech support. Not quite as much one-on-one communication with the client. For one-on-one communication with a client, I tend to focus more upon using something like Basecamp. But Groove is a great way to be able to integrate your team into working with email support tickets. So rather than everybody jumping into one email account, you can have multiple email accounts and you can assign tickets to different members and that sort of thing. And it's all built in. Plus, they have a lot of different features integrated as well, such as you can leave notes. Like I said previously, you can go through here and you can actually you can assign these to different team members. You can leave statuses so that you keep everything nice and clean. Once a particular issue or ticket has been resolved, you can close it. So it's just got all the things built in to help a team collaborate really well. And it works really good if you're working with a team that supports, that does something like tech support or has any type of customer-based support where you need a team to kind of work together in order to communicate. Next up on the list is the Full Focus Planner. And if you have been watching this channel for a while, you've seen several videos, most likely, that I've done on the Full Focus Planner. This so happens to be the only physical tool that I am going to be referring to through the length of this video, and that is not by accident. This by far has become one of the most useful tools that I use on a day-to-day basis. You've seen videos in the past where I've talked about how I use it to plan out my day, as well as to structure out particular projects and help them move forward one piece at a time. As of the latest version that they've released, they've got a whole bunch of different colors that you can choose from. I currently am using the Executive, but I've also recently purchased the olive colored one, and they're just beautiful. Not only do they look good from the outside, but they're well designed on the inside as well, so that they're very easy to work with. It is very simple for this particular planner to become a part of your daily workflow because of how well it is designed. So it's saved me a ton of time. It's made my days more productive, and it is one of the highest recommended tools that I have in my arsenal. One of the most recent additions to my list of most recommended tools is something called First Password, or I should say 1Password. It's actually become, I've tried a number of different password managing tools out there. I think I've tried LastPass, Dashlane, a number of others, and they all seem to, I always end up hitting a snag with some of them. Like, they're just not easy to work with. They're not easy to share passwords with my team or other people. Or most commonly, the browser extension doesn't work properly in Chrome or Safari or Firefox or whatever browser I'm using at that time. So, you'll hit fill to autofill your passwords, and it works like 50% of the time. This led me to jump from one to another until I finally fell on 1Password, which I have had zero problems with. It seems to work in every browser. It's really organized. Also, the UI is very clean and uncluttered. It's pretty. It helps you store not only password, but secure notes, phone numbers, personal information, bank account information, and of course, as you would expect, it is super secure. I think recently they decided to open it up. I think they do have it not only for Mac, but they have it also for Windows as well. But it has become a pillar, a cornerstone for my daily workflow, since passwords are so important, particularly with all the tools that we are using. And the next tool on my list is an app called Bear, and this one is specifically for Mac and iOS. But Bear is now and has been for several years now a daily tool that I use for a wide variety of things. I write my emails in Bear. I write any sort of blog post in Bear, any longer message, anything that I need to have a nice, clean, uncluttered writing experience, and or I need to be able to reference later, I use Bear. Bear is great because it uses something called Markdown, which is a really simple, streamlined writing formatter that you can use. You can actually add italics and bold on the fly as you are writing. As I mentioned earlier, it does have an iOS app, so if you've got a Mac and then you've got maybe an iPad and an iPhone, you can seamlessly sync between those devices. It's got a ton of other features I'm going to be covering in a future video. I've done past videos about Bear, but there's so much to this app that makes it useful, particularly if writing is something that you're doing regularly. Even something as simple as email, as long as you need a clean, uncluttered writing experience, Bear has to be one of the best ones out there. One of the other things that I will say about Bear that I really like is the built-in search feature. It reminds me somewhat of what Evernote can do, in the sense that you can just start typing and it'll instantly pull through thousands and thousands of notes, and it's really intuitive at finding the types of information that you need to find. So as I'm writing out all these emails, I don't go to my email client to find that email I sent 2 months ago. I will just go to Bear because I know that I always start writing there if I need to reference something. Next one on the list is one I haven't talked about for a while, but it is one that I've been using ever since I started doing my freelance work years and years ago. So obviously my business has evolved quite a bit since when I first started, but what has not evolved is my accounting software. I've been using Freshbooks for years. It's really simple and streamlined and intuitive. It helps you really easily manage your expenses, as well as handling invoices. It can send reoccurring late notifications if you ever have clients that don't necessarily want to pay your invoices right away. So there's just a ton of tools that are built into it. If you're not currently, or if you're on the market for, you're searching for some sort of accounting software, FreshBooks does a great job. Plus they have a bunch of reporting and recording built in so that you can always have all the necessary documents you need once tax season comes around. And last but not least on my list today is a service called WPEngine. WPEngine has always been my highest recommended WordPress host. And if if you've been watching this channel for a while, I'm a huge advocate of WordPress, not only because I think it's the best platform. I am also a WordPress developer, so I'm a little bit biased. But far and away, this has been the absolute best platform I've ever worked with. It's got all the tools that you need, such as automated backups built in. It's got security. It's got a number of different tools built in to make WordPress easier to manage. Plus, they just have some of the best support I've ever worked with. I've thrown coding problems at them. I've thrown server issues at them. And every single time they've been able to answer my questions. And in the few times when they can't, they've always escalated it and always found a solution to whatever problem that I have. So particularly if you're running a single website on which you have a lot of your business, you have a large stake of your business having up and running consistently and properly, WPEngine is by far my highest choice for WordPress platforms to work with. Okay, so that's it. I know this was a quick bird's eye view, a quick overview of each of these tools. For those that I have already covered, like I mentioned, I'll be leaving links below this video, not only to the tools themselves, but also to videos that I've made in the past covering in more depth some of these tools. As I mentioned, for tools like Bear, that particular app, and some of the other ones I've never done videos about, I will be coming out with videos in the future that are kind of more tutorial based, dive more in depth with some of the features and what you can do with them in future videos. So as always, if you found this video useful, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.